This morning, we'll be hearing from Tami Allen, who has served as the island's first and only Harbormaster since the summer of 2000. Tami grew up in Morgan Hill, California, where she and her family lived while her father commuted north to serve as chief of police in San Jose. Subsequent to early experiences sailing on Puget Sound, she went on to earn a master's in public administration with an emphasis in port management, following an undergraduate degree in Spanish. She currently maintains United States Coast Guard Merchant Marine 100 ton captain's license, as well as Able Seafarer's endorsement. You'll see her out on the water as part of the Bainbridge Island Police Department Marine Program, the Harbor Management Program, and the Emergency Flotilla component of Bainbridge Preparedness. Statewide, she serves as an incident commander on the Washington State Maritime Cooperative Incident Response Team for oil spills. She splits her time sailing between her 15-foot West Point Potter and captaining a friend's 100-year-old stay-sail schooner, the Red Jacket. And on land, she'll be found playing Cajun fiddle in the bed Who's Your Mama with her spouse Claudette and their daughter Alexina. So now let us welcome Tami Allen. Tami?
Good morning. So it looks like I've got my video on and my mic on, which is half the battle. And I've got a PowerPoint presentation that I'll follow. A big part of my job right now is the emergency preparedness, and our partnership with Bainbridge Prepares has really helped make that island-wide. So memorize these flags. The first flag, if we were in the room, I could have you just shout out the answer, but go ahead and shout out the answer even though you're muted. The first flag is what letter? It's the Bravo flag, Bravo. The second is in India. I'm getting nervous, India. So these flags will be how our flotilla captains can tell somebody at a distance that they are part of our response. So here's a typical scenario. You're already part of your Map the Neighborhood, and I hope everybody in the Oatmeal group has already done their Map the Neighborhood. You do it on your own street. You know who your neighbors are. In that neighborhood, they know who's commuting to Seattle or Kitsap side, who would be off island at 12:30 on Thursday when the earthquake happens. And through that neighborhood, there is a family reunification plan. And in that plan, they know who is off island and who needs to get home. It's up to the neighborhoods to figure out how they're going to communicate with each other. We have a lot of ham operators on the island, and each neighborhood has a ham operator. But if you are off island, no bridge and no ferry, these flags are how you know which boat can bring you back to Bainbridge. On the Seattle side, it's going to be crazy for folks that are walking down to the beach, but there are four, along that sculpture park, there are 4 very good beach landings, and our flotilla captains are going to be communicating through their neighborhood captains to the individuals that are part of that neighborhood to coordinate rides. There isn't a pre-planned place, that would be impossible, but these flags are at least our early communication. And I know that we have some Oatmeal Club members that are our commuters, and I would like you to get a hold of me if you have any questions about how the whole one-way trip home works through your neighborhood. We're also going to need captains for the thousands of people that walk onto Bainbridge just to have lunch on a given weekend to get them off the island after an earthquake. So this is our symbols that we would have on the boats, and it's the emergency flotilla, Bravo, India. If you think about every large catastrophic event, from Katrina, Rita, 9/11, the Boston Massacre. We're about to go through another hurricane. It's the private boat owners. It's the individual local knowledge with boaters that can really help a community thrive. And Jim mentioned that he doesn't have his gill netter anymore, but he still has the local knowledge. So we can buddy an experienced boater like Jim with a new boat owner that has just moved to Bainbridge. And between the two of them, they have the equipment and the local knowledge. So we need all of the boats on Bainbridge. I see them as a resource that is always ready. If you think about your own boat, it's got fresh water, fresh fuel. It's got mobility, so we could move those resources to other parts of the island. You can usually on the larger boats have a galley, bunks, radio communication, spare tools, fire extinguishers. It's like a perfect shelter. So having those vessels on Bainbridge is a win. Having vessels off Bainbridge is also a win. If our damage is on the island and we have resources off island, we'll get you to your boat so that you can come serve the community. If you think about how many boats the city operates, we only have 2. We have the police boat that's 33 feet. It's going to be occupied. You won't be able to use this to move people. And the small Harbormaster boat, I can launch it several places on the island, but it's limited as well. So we need all of the private boats. And as I mentioned before, we want all the retired captains. We want all the former boat owners. We want all the new boat owners. And we will train on how to set out containment boom if there was a serious spill. We are trying to get all of our captains their ham license, because we know that we're going to want to communicate with the hubs and the EOC and the vessel. And to do that, the vessel owner would need to have both ham and VHF. And definitely today, if you have any questions about the map, the neighborhood, if that hasn't happened, that has to happen first, really, before you can get this program going. For the captains in our flotilla, they need a basic language for incident management. So I would have them take ICS 100 and 700, which is just to learn the system that we operate in. I think everybody would be interested in looking at the geographic response plan for Bainbridge. And that document predicts where oil will go if it spills. And so it tells you how and where you would put up those fences. And that's when I talked about knowing CPR for your neighbor. This is knowing how to protect our shoreline from a large oil spill. And this is probably where I want to mention September 26th will be our Bainbridge Prepares. We would have had a big conference. Everybody would be at City Hall with their swag bags and meeting each other. We're not doing that. We're going to do it on Zoom, but we still want everyone there. And it's called Bainbridge Prepares, in the city of Bainbridge Island, having a online conference on September 26th. I'll be one of the presenters I'll have a chat room to talk about the flotilla. What's near and dear to my heart is the oil spill preparedness. In 2010, I went to Louisiana to work on their oil spill. And the same concept applies, that the local boaters have, they have the right boats for the environment, and they have the local knowledge. So if you see this dock just forever full of small boats, shallow boats, john boats, fishing boats, they were the ones that worked. And those are all local boats. Those are all locally owned vessels that came to help with the spill. I would envision that our island would use the same kind of plan. We'd use local boats for our own recovery.